TSM, this series is already done with, and they will have a quick 2-0 to move themselves forward to the matchup against DZ. But if Oxygen strikes back, we will be going to a third and final map on Villa.
And just to remind you folks, before jumping into this series, once again, whoever loses between these two teams ends up playing against SSG here in a little while. Yes, they have to play again today right after this in another best of 3. They'll have to run the gauntlet, same as SSG, to see who possibly moves on inside of that lower bracket. Hard destruction bans are in on both fronts for the offense. This time Habana being removed instead of the Thatcher. So Maverick, Habana, let's follow this up with some defensive bans.
Let's see, a Vigil ban, interestingly enough. I don't think I've ever seen a Vigil ban, to be honest with you, but there's been quite a bit of it today with regards to the roam game, and it's used quite a bit on Clubhouse specifically, so I can see the nature for needing to ban it out, specifically for our Oxygen's perspective, if they're not going to be leaning too heavily into the roam game.
I completely agree with you. Vigil is a nuisance of an operator when it comes to the information game because of that backpack. You've probably heard us talk about it quite often today because Vigil has worked his way into quite a few defensive setups, especially when they go on that roam game. His presence can be seen throughout almost the entire map when he has that backpack on. You can traverse floors with it and everything in between. So he's going to be removed, at least for this map. I have to see exactly how that impacts the outcome.
6-pick is going to be used by Achieve, and oh no, the shields have arrived, ladies and gentlemen. Vert is also going to 6-pick over to an IQ, but it's that Clash one that we'll have to be worried about now, because it's going to change up the way that Oxygen will have to approach this round in a pretty major way, depending on how Achieved is going to position himself.
Well, some very different bans from what we saw earlier today on Clubhouse. A previous series between SSG and DZ brought us here as well, where DZ actually ended up winning that series. But their bans were Cap, Monty, Valk, and Maestro, obviously leaning more into what those teams are all about, specifically DZ with that Maestro ban specifically. But between these two, I definitely think that these are some really good bans. I want to see how they work things out with that Habana ban. Habana more than likely being removed for the hatches, simply because it's very, very easy to get all of the hatches with her. Granted, we usually see her expend quite a few X-Kairos trying to get the kitchen open because of impact tricking.
Let's take a look and see how exactly Oxygen is going to approach their attacking half of this second map in the series here. But obviously not anything happening immediately in those first 15 to 20 seconds, but a bit of drone work still to be done. We need to be cautious of any extended roam presence, which thankfully for Oxygen's sake, they're not going to get a whole lot of. Got one player holding that top stair position, that's Bolo, but he's immediately going to get drowned out by Foxay here, and that's going to send him reeling back into the basement, where it's pretty much a turtle hold here for TSM. No roam game to be seen.
Not a bad setup in the slightest. They do have nitro cells on Bolo to assist in some way with this vertical play if they do start to break up the kitchen flooring, and that's exactly where Pulse is going to be. Strangely enough, inside of Pulse spot, wouldn't you know? That's going to be Bolo back here, waiting on that. So we'll have to see exactly how successful he could possibly be. For the rest of TSM, though, they're spread throughout this entire basement, holding down the main areas that you usually want to see bodies, especially inside of blue.
Deploying sensor.
She's going to be denying that dirt push as well, so quite a bit of action to potentially be seen from him in the event that Oxygen do decide to go through that route. We'll figure it out in just a moment if that's going to be the case, because Bio will more than likely work himself over there to get the hard breach done. But he also could have just been rotating over towards kitchen. I don't think that's the case, though. It looks like he is indeed taking out the dirt barricades. So that is going to open up that angle of play and may need to draw the Clash back over in that direction after it's been opened back up. We can already see Achieved backing away from the main stairs position, but not going to rotate fully, just as of yet.
Small altercation happening there between the IQ and the Pulse. It's a traditional dance that we see inside of the kitchen area. Some good intel found by the IQ, at least on that Echo drone. They're going to see if they're able to get rid of that, which could help them out quite a bit inside of blue, as it'll hinder Geo's ability to play off of that Yokai drone. We'll have to wait for sound cues from that barbed wire or possibly wide swing off of very minimal intel. It's going to be Merc first to strike, though, as he ends up getting the kill onto Slash. Pops a few extra bullets into him just to make sure as well.
We're continuing to look for anything that might come his way, but it's going to be all clear for the time being. Oxygen as well, remaining very, very quiet, saving all their utility for the most part as well. Here comes the swing, and it's just not going to be successful there for Vert, unfortunately. Looked like a few of them were headshots, but I guess they're not going to connect this time around. Shala instead is going to pick up that kill, but Geo in the meanwhile does end up getting dropped at a minimum. He's not taken out just yet, although it's going to be very hard to get him back up considering his position. As far as the rest of the team is concerned, they're still in great spots to hold on here, although Bio is going to look to try and change that up, but even he's up against between a rock and a hard place here. Trying to swing himself out further into Church. He gets into position, can actually force the issue on the plant, and even better, Laxing cuts off the first rotate, but here comes Bolo. There's the denial, and there goes the round. TSM take the opener here on Clubhouse.
It's got to be in the Bolo charm, right? There's no way.
what's the LMAO for?
Lamau.
I was like trying to figure out what that was
I
for.
have literally zero clue. I have no idea. I'm going to guess that we probably didn't see what happened with regarding that.
Yeah.
I will say though, for Oxygen, it's just very frustrating to see the way that they handle a lot of these engagements where we don't see really the team play come in to, help them when it comes to these trades, especially on that play with Vert. He ended up down in the Jaeger inside of Plu, but ends up getting traded. If there was someone there, even on the opposite side, maybe pushing secret stairs, they would have been able to handle that a lot easier. Again, this could just be me, erring in my ways, but it just seems very, very awkward.
Certainly not looking as clean as past iterations of Oxygen have brought to the table. Whether that's issues about their comp or things that are affecting them in the mid game here, of course, is yet to be seen. But for TSM, things continue to flourish as they take swift control of that basement hold. Now moving upstairs into the cache and CCTV round here to try and see if they can have similar results.
Well, typical setup for TSM. Rocking Geo upstairs inside of Rafters. A little bit of a different play here for the soft single panel, though, in between CCTV and Rafters upstairs. No rotation made, but we're used to that now. But we've seen a couple different variations of this. This time around, they're going to make some footholds here so that Geo's able to play for default plant if they want to try and take it while Geo's still alive.
Attackers have located a bomb.
They continue to have a very passive opener here. Oxygen not necessarily one to start things out aggressively given the fighting position that they're in right now in this series. But oftentimes that's what can potentially turn a situation like this around. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see at least one attempt at that. Maybe not this round, of course, but potentially later on. It should be a successful trick if they don't peel it off. And I'm not sure if he got it or not. I didn't get to see if the thermite peeled the charge off, but he was definitely trying to counteract it. In the meantime, we are seeing incendiary bullets being thrown over at the wall at the same time to keep Bolo away from it, and this one is going to be a success. Finally, a panel open. He did successfully waste the other one, though, as I've now got an opportunity to check the side UI. That will be the only breach they can open with the thermite on this round.
Unfortunate for them, but very fortunate for TSM, as that more than likely locks them out of the bottom of Garage. Obviously, except for the doors that grant you access there, but that's usually not where you want to try, mainly because that funnels you into the room, and Geo's more than likely going to tear your head off. TSM now, though, lying in wait to see what Oxygen's next move's going to be. Do have the plat wall open now. They could go for the default plant, but as previously stated, they're not going to be too successful with that unless they get rid of Geo inside of Garage. Assumed that Achieved was going to hightail it out of the secret window there for just a second, but nothing just yet. Does have quite a few Oxygen members surrounding him outside. Could all quickly be dealt with, but nothing that he can personally capitalize on right now.
Oxygen swiftly going to be moving in to take control of stock now that it's been drawn out. Still a little bit cautious on that approach, and with good reason too. You do have a Chief right around the corner. I don't even know if they're aware of his specific position. Currently trying to nade out into the cache room there. Bolo with a good swing. Oh, and that's a great grab as well. Takes out Bio. Once again, the hard breach is gone. Note, of course, that he had already used his utility, but more importantly, in this situation, That's the diffuser down. We're way over in construction, so TSM can adjust their play accordingly. Achieved is also going to be able to grab Slash here when he tries to get aggressive.
And oh no, they're just falling to pieces right now. Almost every single one of these gunfights falling TSM's way. The only death on TSM is Merc, but a nice trade there for TSM as Fox8 kills achieved on red. But Bolo's there to handle the situation. The last remaining member will be Vertical, but he won't be alive for too long as TSM claims round 2 off of the back of some very good defense on CCTV.
Yeah, nice shot from Fox8, but other than that, nothing really ringing out there for the folks on Oxygen throughout the course of that round. Another one that TSM controls without straining too much in the process, and they'll just continue to rotate around sites, heading over into Gym Bedroom. OXG really struggling to get their foot on the ground, and this is very much echoes of some of the things that we saw back on the first map 2. This could be a bad start indeed. Let's hope they can improve it throughout this round and the remaining 4 still to be played on this half.
This is one of those times where it's just very difficult to watch because things are just falling down around one of the teams and it doesn't really seem like they have a way out. For Oxygen, I don't really know what the next choice is for them, whether it be, you know, moving to more of a standard lineup and trying to take things in more of a default manner and try to play closer and more tight-knit. That might be the case, but we'll have to see exactly what their mindset is walking into these next rounds. As for TSM's mindset, though, they have to have big old smiles as they're going through Clubhouse. This isn't even their map pick either, and they're having a field day right now.
Standard reinforcements for the most part being thrown out by TSM here, including the extended hold to the inside of Cash Room. This is going to leave room, of course, for Challo to work himself into position here, doing that floor cutout as well. We got told that a little bit earlier today what that's for, so thank you once again to our observer Cyano for that information. It's actually possible to trick when you take out that soft destruction that isn't there on the other side, mind you, but it is there on the top. And if you throw like an impact underneath of it, it can trick the other side.
It's just a very weird setup there. The reason that I questioned it earlier on is because there's no like actual hole made. Obviously you have like a sandwich in between the bars. You have the bottom floor ceiling, right? And then you have the floor upstairs that goes on top of it. They just destroy the floor on top of it. They leave the basement ceiling there and play through that and then impact it and it blows through the other side. I'm going to assume that's possible because of the new shrapnel system with the explosives, but that's why I was questioning it so much. It's just such an awkward looking thing.
Very awkward indeed, but for the time being, it's working out into the favor of the defenders. So until that is either noted as a bug and gets fixed or is just incorporated into pro play, we'll see. Going to see quite a few angles open up for play specifically in the meantime for Achieved. He's going to be able to pretty aggressively roam out to the inside of security and keep good intel watch in terms of what's going on there, preventing hopefully any pushes from Oxygen from coming in on that side of the map. And it seems he's pretty successful. You can tell from the silhouettes there is virtually zero pressure working itself over to Cash and CCTV side. The only one that's going to even be on that side of the map is Laxing. And I think that's purely for him to be able to reposition. Other players are focusing very much on the jacuzzi push right now.
No presence inside of bathroom for TSM either. Chala's moved his way over to the couch inside of Master. Now playing near the secret wall instead. Well, excuse me, stash wall instead. Bio and the rest of Oxygen have burnt out weights. So it's possible to get a plant down here, but there's a lot of presence inside of Master. That's more than likely not happening anytime soon as TSM continues to deal damage to this drone economy.
Well, this is an awkward find for the Clash as he's going to be able to slow down the Thermite on the way out. He did get the hard breach done, but he is going to get confirmed by a gas grenade on the way out due to the fact that he was slowed down by the Clash's ability. The same is going to be true of Vertical. He's locked in position here now. He's got to be careful as well. If another player tries to swing out and peek him, he could be very easily turned into a dead man here.
And it seems that TSM's hearts grew threefold after that play. That was extremely impressive. Unfortunate for Biologic, though, as Fox8 is soon to fall as well. Finally, the trades ensue, but TSM continue to push this down. Slash and Laxing, the only two that remain. Oh, almost a great play there from Slash, but was caught off guard by Geo still inside of Logi. It's all left up to Laxing to try and close this out, but it's going to be very, very, very difficult with that Clash still on the board. Especially with... Oh, actually, no. Still has both of his fireballs, but with very minimal time and quite a few bodies still left on TSM, more than likely not going to fall into his favor.
Trying his hardest to avoid the taser, but everywhere he goes, so does Clash. Merc will be able to line up the final kill. after laxing tries for so long to find an angle to work with. But once again, just like so many rounds back on the previous map, nothing presenting itself to him or the other members of Oxygen. So TSM take yet another round and complete their first site rotation without dropping a single one.
Things are definitely looking desperate, my friend, and I've reached that point inside of analysis where I really don't know what to say. It's just very unfortunate instances here, especially with... I think that the entire tale of what's going on inside of this series right now was really solidified with what happened with the Clash Smoke combo there onto Biologic. That was probably one of the most unfortunate things I've ever seen in my entire life. This man's just trying to walk out of toxic smoke, and he's slowed by a Clash and just takes just enough damage to down him, and then it clips through the wall and he dies.
It's actually like a killer combo for that
Oh,
area
it's disgusting.
specifically.
That's gross.
Because you can't try to play against it, especially when you're breaching the wall, because then there's like 3 angles someone on the other team could peek you from while you're being slowed down by the Clash. So there you go. You have to back out of there, and as a result of that, when you're getting slowed, just throw the gas grenade in there, and it's gonna just melt them down tick by tick.
Play Clash on gym defense. Okay, I got that for my rank games later. I'm ready.
There you go. Just hold 90. Just hold that 90 angle with the Clash.
Guys will be seeing me enchant pretty soon with that. Let me tell you.
Yeah, that's going to be an annoying one to deal with in the event we end up going back to that site. Oxygen will certainly have to come up with something better to try and isolate that, whether that be trying to get Logi control earlier on or finding some way to leverage extra pressure from the steps. That'll be yet to be seen, but Oxygen will indeed have to be dealing with that in the event we round back over to that site yet
The
again.
worst part about that is, though, is that they had a lot of things that they could have used to deal with Clash, specifically the Zofia and the Capitao, that were really never shown. The only time that we ever saw Clash truly mess with was when Slash shoved her down and punched her shield, but he was immediately killed after. So, just very unfortunate for Oxygen. It seems that everything that they tried, TSM already has the counter for.
So Oxygen are out on the board once again. Already about 40 seconds into the action phase of the round. And at the moment, just Achieve doing some drone hunting here. Catches 2 of them in a row, going back to back. That is not going to be great for the overall drone economy on Oxygen. And they're about to send another one down there too. Still have quite a few to utilize, to be fair to you. But yeah, 3 in a row getting knocked out from the same angle here. That's a lot of intel gone, only just reconfirming the position of Achieved at the bottom of main stairs, and no one really able to do anything with that information, unfortunately.
Well, some hard destruction going off as we're going to burn away a minute here. Oxygen now onto the soft destruction for that vertical play. Going to try and slow down TSM, especially inside of the long hallway downstairs. But a Nitro Cell now placed as they get closer and closer. Oh no, this could be the landmine. Actually ends up doing 0 damage. Very unfortunate for the defensive side, but they're doing a bang-up job of wasting quite a bit of time.
Smart play by Slash there. I think he either caught on or heard the Nitro Cell, so he delayed that final swing just to bait it out. Works out beautifully. Bolo, in the meantime, is going to be able to send one flying. Barely gets away with it, too. You could see some shots coming in. I believe it was Vert that was trying to trade him before he got that Nitro Cell off, but no, it's not going to be the case. Bio is dead once again, and Bio has to be very upset with the way that these previous rounds have been going. He's been getting picked so often before he can actually use his utility.
And that's the difficult thing, is all of these players on Oxygen need him to get that done so that they have more pressure onto the site. Every single time that Bio dies early and he's the only hard destruction, obviously with the other hard destruction being banned, it means that it's going to be more difficult for this offense. But now they've sledged in through the Ash Rush panel inside of Armory. Frag grenade now in the hand of Slash. Is he able to pick one up with that? Actually ends up going off quite late, does a little bit of damage, but now Slash being damaged in the process. Diffuser down on the floor deep inside of Armory. There is still one member of Oxygen in there, but Geo, what? Yet again able to take down one, and then Achieve rotating inside of Moto to finish up Foxay at the bottom of main. TSM all over Clubhouse right now.
TSM, even with some awkward positioning to play out there at the end of the round, still come out on top. Oxygen come very close indeed, but are not able to catch mainly Geo, who hides out in the back of Armory and does so much damage to the remaining force from OXG that was trying to push in and get the plant on the ground at that point. That was despite the lack of their hard breach in that round, as well as, once again, Bio got picked, and I'm pretty sure it got picked before either of his exothermic charges were used, at a minimum before he could do any damage to the church wall there. So considering that, OXG still made some good progress, but once again, just faltering, and the loss of their thermite is a big part of that.
Yeah, huge problem for the Oxygen camp right now. But for TSM, they continue to be able to flex their muscles in almost every single scenario that Oxygen throws at them. Even in that last bit there where it seemed that Oxygen was going to be able to bowl TSM over with a very surprising rush through the back of Armory. But even then, TSM not caught off guard enough to where they couldn't handle the situation. That's a sign that this team is definitely showing up at this major. For Oxygen right now, it's 4 rounds in a row against them, and continuously these picks happen on their hard destruction. Bio has died every single round.
Well, for Oxygen, it's do or die time now. We need to start seeing an impact made on this attacking side. Otherwise, this starts to shift into nearly a territory where it's going to be pretty much impossible to come back from here when you just consider the overall score disparity between the teams. Even 5-1 would be relatively acceptable considering the overall way that this match has played out so far, but obviously the optimal situation would be for them to close out these last two and at least have a workable scoreline to play off of when they jump on the defense. Now, it's not to say that they're not going to win anything on defense, it's just that ultimately you're going to make mistakes, and you want to make sure that the match is as close as possible for any of those potential mistakes or trip-ups to happen while you're on defense yourself and trying to round that comeback.
And that's a very difficult thing. I mean, going back to the bans that we have on this map, specifically for this one, obviously, Mav and Habana are the 2 operators that have been removed from the offense, leaving the Thatcher Thermite combo up, which usually guarantees at least one wall being opened. And for this side, it's definitely going to be CCTV. Obviously, bandit tricking can go on, but it's ill-advised more often than not, simply because a lot of the times, bandit ends up dying in the process of that. But for Oxygen now, it seems to be a completely flipped script for them, or a flipped script for them, as they actually are starting things off on the construction side.
Let's see how well this works out for them. At the moment, waiting for Foxy to get into position to assist with the EMP grenades. Here comes the first attempt at a trick from Bolo. It is not going to go down, though, so let's see here. Fireball goes in. Bio has to switch the panel. The Fireball looks like it's spread too far to the left, so Bolo's just not even going to attempt to stop the breach there anyway. I couldn't see the Fireball that was. I don't know if it was over to that side or not, but either way, Bolo was not able to get to the wall. And as a result of that, the breach is successful for Oxygen. Bio dying is no longer the end of the world for Oxygen, at least in this round.
That's a very good thing. Oxygen has quite a bit of presence across the map now. They've constricted sight and the rotates possible by TSM, but they still have quite a bit of presence. And the dangerous thing is now, those were, oh my God, what else would you expect from that man? Bolo tears the head off of Vert inside of construction. They're now trying to get the double panel in there as the Capital Bolt goes down, but they can't find any space to put this last exothermic charge down. Finally, they get the left panel free, but it's an impact above to stop it. They're going to keep that wall sealed as that's the last exothermic charge being able to be used. Bolo pushes it to a double kill as we enter 45.
Might not be able to trick, but he sure can frag. Bolo finding the impact to put TSM back into a dominating position. The remaining players trying to swing it. Great angle being taken there by Bio, and he's not alone in finding success either. Laxing and Foxy also picking up kills. A lot of pressure coming onto the site here now as a result of this. Geo, though, training it back down into a 2v2 as there's garage pressure that was left undealt with. Cash control is there as the Chief swinging in. He gets the first pick. Now everything's on Laxing. He's going to swing out over on the pistol as well. I assume his para is out of ammo. He's going to try to round around onto these players, and that pistol, unfortunately, is the death of him. Can't get in enough damage quickly enough, and Achieve takes him out before any more can be done.
Oh, that was almost it, but Achieved heard the barbed wire, it seems, inside of CCTV. Was ready for the peak from Laxing. Great round there from Oxygen. Amazing attempt, but just coming up short at the very end. Almost a perfect defensive half here from TSM. And this is where we're reaching treacherous waters. TSM currently 5 rounds in a row. If they're able to complete the perfect defensive side, Oxygen cannot make a single error.
To round the same exact thing, that perfect 6-round run on top of winning at least 2 out of the 3 OT rounds in order to guarantee a 3rd map in this series. Keep in mind, that's not to guarantee a win. That's just to keep them alive in this series and keep them fighting in this matchup to stay in the upper bracket. Important to note as well, when I say stay alive, I mean specifically about the upper bracket. They will not be eliminated with a loss here.
You want to hear an interesting stat? We've played 15 rounds, and of those 15 rounds, Oxygen have gotten 3.
It's a very unfortunate
It
step.
really is. It really, really is. But it's something that really drives home the situation that we're currently in right now. And again, for Oxygen, I don't exactly know what that adjustment's going to be. We already see some operators being thrown around Slash now onto the Buck. Hopefully that can have something that could possibly help them string along and hold on to this lifeline that they are so desperately collapsed to. We aren't going to have the clash this time around, though, for the gym bedroom defense by TSM. Instead, Achieved going to be picking up the Valkyrie for a little bit more intel work.
So let's take a look at exactly how Oxygen will approach things once again for their final round on the attacking side. Have to hope that things work out well in their favor. It should be noted that, thankfully for their sake, that we don't have the Clash and Smoke combo coming in to save the day here for TSM anymore. There's no longer the potential for their entire push to be destroyed by that utility right at the start of this round. It's much more a traditional setup here for TSM at the moment.
Well, slow wind up here for Oxygen, but they already have quite a bit of destruction done as they're barreling down onto CCTVs. So, actually a lot faster than I initially thought. Plenty of soft destruction done by the defense with some very peculiar angles that could catch Oxygen off guard if they're not ready for it. But some standard stuff, obviously, is Achieved is peering into CCTV. Or, excuse me, Cache. But hard destruction done now, though, and it seems to be the double panel that they reinforced at the top of Cache stairs. So now they have Cache control, some ADSs in there that they're still going to need to get rid of, but that's probably going to be easy. Walk in, shoot those real quick, and we are going to have the transition already from the Oxygen members to the Jacuzzi balcony, and that's going to be their last bit of hard destruction at their disposal.
Good news is for them, it doesn't look like both of the bathroom panels are reinforced, so they can still soft breach that one and have access to that. That was one of my worries with using the extra piece of soft breach over a cache, that they wouldn't be able to get bathroom access, but thankfully the setup is going to work in their favor in that respect. A little bit of a drone swipe here, trying to isolate out Geo, but they quickly shot as it zoops by. Now another player here from Oxygen going to try and take the duel potentially. Very hesitantly, it would seem. I think this is Bio.
Yeah, it's a very scary
Judging
one.
the silhouette correctly. Yeah. Geo also getting a little bit scared, of course, by the lifeline charge that goes in on the soft breach just to his well behind him now. But unfortunately, it looks like he's just not going to be able to sustain right there. It's a good thing he backs out. Now Slash is in an advanced position. I'll correct myself. It's Slash in that position, not Bio, by the way. Vertical, in the meanwhile, is able to finally finish the job, take out Geo, but it's not long before Vertical himself gets traded by Chala. The same can be said for him, though, as Foxe is right on the dime with that one. Moves in, picks up the counter trade. But Merc will do the same exact thing. It's a chain of trades right now, and it's brought it down to a 3v3. But finally, TSM take the advantage as they get the Nitro Cell kill off on a Slash.
The comms from TSM right now working so well inside of these trades. It's down to Bio and Laxing once again to close out their first offensive round. All of a sudden down to Bio, but TSM right at their throats. It's a perfect defensive half from TSM. They need one round to send Oxygen to the lower bracket to face SSG a little later on today.
TSM looking so solid right now. You already mentioned it once in the mid-round there, both from the communication front and supporting their teammates in the mid-round here, making sure that if someone's going to die, they are there a second later to trade that back. That was fantastical from both teams with how long they were able to keep that chain going, and it was very cool to watch. But ultimately, when that Nitro Cell kill comes out, Oxygen, similarly to quite a few of the rounds we've seen played in this series, just don't have the manpower, utility, or capability to try and get in that site, especially at such a low time.
Did you say fantastical?
I think I
That's
did.
fantastical.
Yeah.
I love that. That was amazing. Anyways, we're going to the basement now, and TSM need one round, my friend. It's this is I don't even know what's positive to positive. You know what? I'm just glad that Oxygen's here. I'm very happy they're here. I think that they definitely deserve to be in the major, and this could be the wake-up call that they possibly needed walking into this matchup with SSG. We knew that TSM versus Oxygen was more than likely going to be hotly contested. Obviously, we were a little wrong in our initial thoughts, but I mean, obviously you do have two lives here. If it takes them to beat the world champs to stay in it, we might as well see it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to lead into. Is the bad news for Oxygen is the competition in reality is only going to get tougher if they end up losing this match. They'll have to play SSG tomorrow, or actually later today. I think they're playing that game, so they'll have to play them right after this. In fact, so that's going to be quite a bit to ask about.
Yeah, we don't cast everything, dude. We have to get Kixen and Taro in here. Come on.
No, I got the order confused. The winners game was today, but I was wrong about that. It's the losers game was today.
Yep, losers have to play twice, and very unfortunate for them. But That's what you get when you lose. That's the thing. It's, you know, it's a crappy thing, but just don't lose, Warhead. You know, like if you don't want to deal with it, just don't lose. That's
so many pro players are so angry with you right
they know.
now because you just
They
said
better
that.
know I'm joking. Like, there's literally no way. If you're actually angry at that, that's a little ridiculous. Anyways,
Super tweets on the way.
moving into things that actually matter, like the score line here between these two teams. Defense now for Oxygen once again. Currently set up inside of Dirt. It's vertical as he's going to attempt to actually trick the walls for Dirt and get rid of one of those exothermic charges in Geo's pocket.
Let's take a look here and see what exactly TSM are going to try and bring to the table for their own strategy this time around. Of course, already a minute gone. Quite a bit of focus on the soft destruction here to start things out, just to open up some angles for both Achieved and the rest of TSM to try and play into. And that's going to be a continuous theme for him here for probably the next 30 seconds or so while he smashes out this hall.
Well, slow and steady wins race for TSM right now as the drones begin to wind up and travel downstairs to see what's going on. Still one exothermic charge here in the pocket for Geo as they can actually get some intel here on Vert. They've actually droned him out as I saw the drone scamper by there. It seems that Geo wants to go in once again. Sees the man with the electro claw in his hand, so we'll see how TSM's able to handle this situation. As for the rest of the squad, though, they're still poised around Kitchen as well as Bolo down the main stairs, trying to get some pressure on these defenders.
Still see Achieved using quite a bit of the hammer usage here to try and demolish the entire kitchen. This is like excessive to a certain extent here with this demolishing of the kitchen floor, trying to open up as much of a POV as possible. It's going to work out as players are able to more safely push themselves downstairs. Not as much room for Oxygen to safely play into as a result of all that soft breach has been going on at the hands of Achieved. So works out, I believe, to flush one player into a position where, as you just noticed, they're able to punish and take him out to set it up to a 5v4. It's only the first kill they've gotten, though. And we still are only down at 35 seconds remaining here, so TSM still have a lot of work to do. That one kill may give them the advantage, but it's certainly not going to give them the round if they continue to play this slowly.
Well, plenty of drones in. They now know the positioning of the Oxygen members, well, at least inside of Church. Laxing playing Dirt, pre-firing towards the bottom of main stairs, but it's a damage actually from Blue that is very, very large. Also, nice shots here. It's a flick back and forth. Merc gets taken down inside of Blue as it's Bio as well as Foxy that are actually the only two remaining members. They're both trapped inside. Geo's been down, which means that Bolo doesn't have the diffuser. Very nice swing there from one of the last remaining members of Oxygen, and that's going to be their very first round here on Clubhouse. Still a very long road to go, but a nice start.
Some nice heads-up fights being taken specifically over towards Blue. Almost messed it up there, I think, because they kind of like left the site, and that potentially could have opened up a plant angle, but thankfully that didn't end up coming true. So don't want to give them too much critique on that. With regards to the overall playstyle, though, great work from them. TSM, however, at the same time, a lot of time spent on the prep, but not enough time spent on the execute, in my opinion. If they just speed that up a little bit, I think that they end up with a lot more time to actually work some of those picks, maybe not be rushed into sight due to the lack of time. I think overall they would end up probably in a much healthier position at that point in the round.
Yeah, that round specifically gets completely flipped on its head if Merc is able to find some success inside of Blue. But since they were able to shut down that Blue take, there really was no hope for them unless they were able to get those last few kills, especially with Geo being downed and all of it being up to Bolo with very minimal time left. Yes, obviously Bolo's an amazing player and he probably has a very good chance of clutching that up since the other two members of Oxygen were on such low HP. But when you're on a time crunch, you have to make things happen pretty fast, and Oxygen was just a couple seconds faster in their uppercut than TSM was. But obviously Oxygen still has to link 5 more rounds together, so we're gonna have to continue on down the line and see exactly what they're able to bring to the table.
10 seconds remaining.
Not to mention, like, up until that point in the round, like, Oxygen's members had done, or had been forced to do, like, pretty much nothing throughout the course of that round, since it was, like, the turtle setup that they went for the most part. So, as a result of that, they still had, like, all their utility. They were completely untested at that point as well. So TSM had a lot more work to do than I think that they were necessarily expecting it now. And given the fact that they're up 6-0, though, I think that they can be forgiven for that on one round. If that's going to be a consistent mistake, though, definitely put a little bit more attention on that.
Yeah, we'll have to see how these rounds continue on. And for TSM, this site specifically, rudimentary for a lot of the teams when attacking. Doesn't mean that it's easy, though. It just means that everyone is used to attacking CCTV. It's a very straightforward affair. Usually ends up with the CCTV wall open, and whether some garage presence or some presence inside of construction, We'll have to see. Drones now out for the TSM members. Seeing some presence on red stairs. Now Foxy downstairs as well, though. See exactly what's going to go on here with these electro claws. More than likely not going to work out since Thatcher is on the field. That's exactly what's going to happen. Plat wall now open and Oxygen have to try and defend.
See Foxy looking for some form of success against TSM if they're going to try and breach in through the front door. Not happening at the moment, and Bolo also taking a very far back position to try and see if he can catch anyone. And some good potential to do it too if Slash or another player tries to swing out a little bit more aggressively here to look for the duel against him. But thankfully Slash also has some good coverage in the form of this barricade and a few other pieces of terrain that he can use to cover himself in the event. It's going to be more of that spam from Bolo. Probably not going to be a consistent thing though. TSM are now moving in closer to construction, and are going to start to put some pressure on this side of the map too.
Well, Achieve doing his best impression of Bob the Builder, destroying the complete wall there with SLAT, GMPs, or stun grenades actually in now to try and burn some of this utility. Trying to force a hole above. They do have the tactical crossbow in the hand of Merc as he's going to try and burn away any presence here, but the Womidisc's doing a very good job of keeping that locked down. Polo with our first kill now as Slash is removed from the board, and that's actually a huge piece here. These Evil Eyes are now locked into place and no more Alda.
That might have been from the far back position he had taken before too. I wasn't able to catch if he had moved closer to the site or not, but the shot sounded pretty far away. So good stuff from him if that was the case, because he set that up about 30 seconds ago and he had been waiting a while to get a kill from that. Either way though, continuing on, it's another very similar situation in the last round. In fact, the big difference this time is TSM does have quite a few more angles to access the site from. So I don't know if the lack of other kills, lack of other setup, I should say, is going to necessarily work against their favor here. Oxygen has been crunched to the back of the site. A good find from Foxy though evens the numbers out, and now the pressure is going to start to sink onto TSM a little bit more seriously here. Bolo now moves into position, confirms the player over on the garage catwalk, but they have no way to force that player out. No, scratch that. Merc hopping in the window apparently is what they need to force that player out. He'll follow that through with another one as well. Everything's now down to Foxy. Tries to hop out for the free kill. I don't think he got pinged by that, but the plant's going down. He's just sitting here spinning in circles. They will get the diffuser off onto the ground right there, and Foxy now just has to try and pull off the 1v4. Not much that he can really do here, unfortunately. Same situation that they've been faced so many times, and yeah, you guys can see it in the chat. The GG's already been called, so this is it. TSM are going to take it. Foxy tries his best, of course, but ultimately just goes 1 for 1. Chala takes him down, and that's going to be the end of it, ladies and gentlemen. TSM take control of the series, 2-0.
4 rounds over 2 maps by Oxygen. Definitely not the Oxygen that we wanted to see today or that we expected, but that's what we got. Hopefully, going into this next series, they're able to find themselves and pull them out from whatever hole they put them